Have you ever wondered what it was like to live in ancient times? More specifically, life as a eunuch in Imperial China. Well, despite their lowly status, these remarkable people had a far more fascinating and complex existence than many would expect. In this video, we will explore the secret life of eunuchs during the height of Imperial Chinese rule, and highlight the unique role they played in society, the trials and tribulations they endured, and their decline in the late Qing dynasty. With that said, welcome to Proper History. It's time for some Proper History. Eunuchs have long been a mysterious and misunderstood group in many societies, and Imperial China was no exception. A eunuch, as defined by Oxford English Dictionary, is a castrated man, especially one formerly employed in certain Oriental courts as a harem guard or palace official. In other words, eunuchs were men who had been surgically castrated in order to serve in various capacities within the palace and government of Imperial China. While eunuchs have often been depicted as effeminate or weak, the reality of their lives and roles in Imperial China was much more complex. Eunuchs played a significant role in the functioning of the palace and government, often serving as advisors, administrators, or even political operatives. However, despite their importance, eunuchs were also ostracized and marginalized in Chinese society, occupying a social class that was separate from both men and women. The origin of eunuchs dates back to ancient times, when rulers and high-ranking officials will take on male servants who were castrated in order to ensure their loyalty. This practice was initially used as an insurance policy against potential coups or rebellions, but it eventually became a way to create a specialized class of servants and protectors that were loyal only to the ruler. For centuries, eunuchs served as the elite inner circle of advisors to Chinese emperors, possessing nearly unparalleled authority over court affairs. Many eunuchs were responsible for keeping imperial secrets and even running clandestine operations on behalf of the emperor. In addition, eunuchs managed most of the day-to-day operations of the palace, and many held positions of great power and prestige, often rising to become some of the most influential figures in the imperial court. This powerful position was especially true during the Ming Dynasty, when eunuchs were responsible for running entire government departments or even provinces within China. As such, they were a vital force in the political, economic, and cultural life of Imperial China. One of the reasons that eunuchs were so valued in Imperial China, besides for their loyalty, was their perceived lack of familial and political ambition. Since they were castrated, eunuchs were unable to have children or establish a family of their own. This meant they didn't have the same ties to aristocracy or the military as other men did in Chinese society. As a result, eunuchs were seen as being more trustworthy and, as mentioned, less likely to be motivated by personal ambition or the desire to establish a dynasty of their own. This quality made them attractive as advisors and administrators, as they were thought to be more loyal to the emperor and the government. Furthermore, eunuchs were typically of low social status due to being considered outsiders of the traditional gender hierarchy. This unique characteristic, if you can call it that, added to their perceived value because a low social status meant that they were more expendable than other members of the palace staff. Thus, they could be easily replaced or even killed without causing the same level of outrage or backlash as would be the case if a member of the aristocracy or military was treated in the same way. That said, I definitely wouldn't want to be in their shoes. But in a bit of a dark and ironical twist, in cultures that had both harems and eunuchs, the latter were often used as servants in the harem. Though, to prevent them from forming close personal relationships with women in the harem or the palace, the eunuchs were forced to live separately and away from everyone else. Another common role for eunuchs in harems was serving as a guard to ensure that no unauthorized people were able to enter and potentially threaten the safety of the women inside. The castration process was a central aspect of the lives of eunuchs in Imperial China. Eunuchs were typically castrated at a young age, often as young as 8 or 9, in order to ensure that they remained physically and sexually immature. The castration process itself was quite brutal, involving the removal of the testicles and often the penis as well. The procedure was usually performed without any ancient type of anesthesia or similar pain-relieving medication, and it was not uncommon for eunuchs to die as a result of the surgery or from infection afterwards. The castration of eunuchs in Imperial China was not without controversy. Many people both inside and outside of China saw the practice as cruel and inhumane. There were also those who argued that it was a violation of human rights. Despite this criticism, the practice of castrating eunuchs continued in Imperial China for many centuries. It was not until the fall of the Qing dynasty in the early 20th century that the eunuch system was finally abolished. Eunuchs in Imperial China occupied a unique and often troubled social position. On the one hand, they were often trusted and valued by both the emperor and government, and some were able to wield significant power and influence. On the other hand, they were also outcasts in Chinese society, seen as being neither entirely male nor entirely female. This social isolation proved to be difficult for eunuchs to bear, and many struggled to find a sense of belonging. Despite this low social status, some eunuchs were able to accumulate wealth and influence. This was especially true for those who held high-ranking positions in the palace or government. These eunuchs were able to use their connections to the emperor to gain access to resources and opportunities that were not available to others. In this way, eunuchs in Imperial China did have some chance, though rather slim, to rise from being slaves at the bottom of the social ladder and become powerful figures in their own right. Despite their power and influence in Imperial China, the number of eunuchs in the palace began to decline in the late Qing dynasty, which was in power from 1644 to 1912. Many factors can be given credit to the decline in eunuch numbers, including the increasing influence of Western ideas regarding human rights and dignity, more prevalent national sentiment against the eunuch practice, improvements in women's rights, which allowed women to obtain an education and eventually become more involved in palace and government affairs, thus making it less necessary for the emperor to rely on eunuchs as intermediaries and advisors. And lastly, the overall general decline of the Qing dynasty. The fall of the Qing dynasty occurred in 1912. At this point in time, the number of eunuchs in imperial employment had fallen to just 470. With the collapse of the old ruling body and the birth of the new Republic of China government, the antiquated practice of using eunuchs in the palace officially came to an end. Records show that the last imperial eunuch, Sun Yao-ting, lived to the ripe old age of 105 and died in December of 1996. However, the legacy and story of the eunuchs in China lives on, and they continue to be a fascinating and controversial part of Chinese history. The secret life of the eunuchs in Imperial China offers a rare opportunity to look into the lives and experiences of these unique individuals. From navigating a treacherous political landscape to being medically castrated, we gain insight into the intricate details of their lives, of an often overlooked aspect of Chinese history and culture. Despite the struggles and challenges they faced, eunuchs were able to persevere and find agency within their circumstances. They played a critical role in the operation of Imperial China, even if it wasn't recognized by most. In this way, the lives of the eunuchs are not in vain, as they offer us a valuable lesson in resilience and strength against adversity. With that, thank you for watching the video. Would you want to be a eunuch in Imperial China? I'm guessing probably not, but either way, please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to check out our other videos for more interesting stories from the past. From ancient civilizations to modern-day events, we have something for everyone. Subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more proper history.